Thank you, Tawfiq and everybody else in attendance. We appreciate you joining us today for this very important webinar. For decades, Lebanon and the Lebanese people have been held hostage by a terror group, Hezbollah. Over the last number of years, Hezbollah has morphed from a garden variety terror group into a terror army and a quasi-state within a state. It has taken the once prosperous Lebanon and brought it to the brink of war and total state failure. Over the decades, many critical voices have come and gone along with the political tide in Lebanon. But one consistent voice for Lebanese neutrality, sovereignty, and security has been consistent throughout the decades, and that is the Maronite Patriarchate. And that continues to this day. That has not changed. Now, Stephen and Tawfiq also did a very good job just now of outlining the events of August 6th and Hezbollah's actions in southern Lebanon. The bottom line here is Hezbollah expects that the use of human shields may deter an Israeli military response. And if Israel does return fire, Hezbollah is perfectly fine with Lebanese civilian casualties because it's a PR victory for Hezbollah. Let's be clear. Not only is the use of human shields a war crime, it is an ultimate act of cowardice and crime against humanity. On August 8th, the patriarch of the Maronite Church, Cardinal Rai, in his Sunday morning homily, strongly condemned Hezbollah's provocation, as well as calling on the Lebanese armed forces to enforce UN Resolution 1701 to disarm Hezbollah. The patriarch went on to say that the Lebanese people are tired of war and destruction, and that it's Hezbollah's actions that provoke war and destruction. Offensive provocation, which leaves Lebanese civilians vulnerable, many of whom are Christians, should not be tolerated. In response to the patriarch's criticism, Hezbollah and its supporters immediately delivered a barrage of death threats against the patriarch and vowed imminent violence against him. In some sense, the threats against the patriarch are deeply symbolic of the radical threat to Christianity that we've witnessed throughout these centuries. Just as in defense of Christians have stood with our persecuted Christian brothers and sisters, we also stand today in solidarity with the patriarch for his courage in calling out terrorism and standing for peace in the face of persecution, in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. So thank you again. I look forward to joining this very interesting discussion.